X Squeeze and Andalex just disengaging. They don't want any more of this noise.
He's not sold it. I'm not convinced. Still being cautious, as he should be.
Ah, the good old Mammoth catching him off guard. Lucy goes down. Teammate almost nowhere in sight. Almost has me wondering if South Slappy, is that his teammate? And if it is, why are they so far apart? That's neither here nor there as the disengage comes through. I do think a reboot is going to be a possibility here.
The sneak attack. And the Mammoth. The old classic combination, eh, Jacob?
Oh, the Season 3 classic. Thomas going back to the scene. This is actually where Murstache and Hide on Bush were just taken down. With Malibuka gone, that's a lot of loot in that direction. And you can see in this game, more so than any other, there's a huge amount of contested players over around that secluded spire, and the vault spawns this time around. Teams in the direction. They hear this reboot going off.
They're gonna let it happen.
And now they're just, yeah, they're moving in that direction. 3 points, right?
Let the reboot happen. Pick off Malibuka as he lands. And you can see they're instantly shooting him. Thomas tried to build up to protect his body. But yeah, it's not going to happen. And there's not just one team closing in, there's two here.
I think they're talking about
someone's got a message for me. It has happened this season, just not in EU. It happened in NA, okay.
You just got to trust yourself. You knew it happened. You just got to trust yourself. You got to trust your gut. I trust you. We do a bunch of trust falls when we're together. And show them, and they're laughing. Everybody kind of just moving off of their drop spot immediately. Didn't matter if it was Slappy Shores, Secluded Spire, anywhere in between. They want to contest over towards this side of the map. A lot of caches do spawn here, plus the vault. A lot of resources up for grabs, but they're laughing, probably getting in over his head. A lot of damage being done. Show them as well as he's trying to close the distance between him and his teammate. Continues to shoot some free fires through, drops down one layer, building himself a lot of real estate to work with before backing off.
This is what I expected to see out of this area. A lot of fighting, as the kids call nowadays, a grief fest almost, you could say. And it certainly has been that in this game.
By Moneymaker to get out of there. If he wasn't able to hop up there, he was surely going to get eliminated. You can see as soon as he finds his way back to 9, they immediately are trying to take down the vault boss. Try to get that key, but getting the vault itself isn't going to be no easy feat. Show them, and they're laughing. Hear this battle going down. They know exactly what's going on, and that's why they're trying to take advantage of those NPCs shooting and causing destruction to Moneymaker and F9. That could be their opportunity to try to break into the box themselves. And the only thing that's kind of tricky here is because of the key card, if you have it in your inventory, your position will always be known as Archie and Jakey Fan find themselves separated as a pure out 1v1 versus Arizumi and Archie. Uh-oh. Archie has to be careful. Can't get lost in the sauce. He looks into the distance. Sees his opponent trying to run away. Jakey Fan closing the distance as well. They're probably talking this one over and see this as a possible free points they can pick up with almost a bare minimum needed in terms of placement on the day. This could be a recipe for success for them to pick up the points needed.
That's the hope, right? I think of how well they've already done today, though. I very much doubt that they were going to fall to a position outside of what, like the top 43, I think it was, that they have to get. So,
yeah. I'm
not going to lie, I'll call it here. I think it's pretty safe to say Archie and Jakey Fan are going to be in the FNCS final. And what a season it's been. Archie in the FNCS final and Vino's not. Who would have thought? Not me.
I don't think anybody really would have guessed that, but do you think that's a different type of pressure? Because Archie says, you said he doesn't get nervous.
He's lying.
Now he's nervous to qualify.
Let's clarify here. Archie saying he doesn't get nervous, he is lying. It is a lie. If you've ever watched Archie for 7 seconds, you can see he's nervous. He is always nervous.
But my question is it more nerves to qualify for the grand finals or when you're in the grand finals for Archie specifically?
So I would hope it would be like, you'd almost hope like he wouldn't be nervous because it's almost nothing to lose, because nobody expects him there. The problem is that we're talking about Archie here, so he's probably like overthinking, like, oh my god, this is like my only chance I'm ever going to be in FNTS finals. Like, I got to do good. The content will be great, you know. So he probably is even going to be even more nervous than he's ever been.
If he can survive that, if Archie places well, Levin, you got to get him something. That's all I got to say. Vico and Pink, they got themselves something. A good amount of loot thanks to that cash. Not too much to worry about, and you can see they have set a season record for most eliminations through the first 3 games at 29, almost averaging 10 per game as a team.
Wow.
It's insane.
That's unbelievable.
You see their position. They got their surge base. Not too much to worry about for them other than getting that damage. It does look like Irazumi did get the reboot onto Sined, but it only lasts for so long before Archie strikes.
This is lovely. Archie and Jakey fan picking up some mortar limbs to their total. Not too shabby, if you ask me. And of course, we're going to bring in Vivid now to fill us in on some of the stuff to do with Archie and Jakey fan.
Big elims and a big game here is going to be needed from Archie and Jakey fan. Of course, like mentioned, a lot of times throughout the day, they do need around top 40 to make sure that they make it into grand finals. But they aren't the only team that needs a pretty solid performance, as does Anas. Also needs a similar performance out of them. Now, both of these teams have been struggling throughout the day, but we'll have to see if game number 4 here is the one where they show us what they got.
As you know, you kind of look at the leaderboard, see how the day started. Talk about top 40. Archie and Jakey fan currently positioned at 36th on the leaderboard before this one started. Nas and Strap a little bit better, 21st. Both of them have a little bit of a cushion here going into the second half, and Anas and Strap just slowly but surely, continuously sneaking up. This is something that we not only seen them, so many other teams do to try to take advantage of a team. The piece control goes away just like that, and a monster of a shot getting fired by Strap, but they're not ready to give up on this just yet. They did so much damage to let this go to somebody else.
They'll slide out though. They wanted to quick kill him in and out. They got a decent chunk of damage. They'll go about their day. Maybe continue with some of the more lurk plays they've been going for.
Cheeky little slide shot there from Anas. They got the damage they wanted. See that all too often. As we got their laughing and show them versus Riley and Ju. Oh my, that first shot was so much damage. It made it look easy. They have 3 eliminations so far as a full team, but they got their work cut out for them for this next rotation. This zone around is like full southern zone. Goes below Kenjutsu Crossing. Kind of starts towards Mega City. So you can kind of get a feel of the roller coaster this one might be if it continues to set her up, whether actual Mega City or the waters close by. I feel like teams have to start thinking about that being a thought now so they can prepare for it later.
Look who's up here on the Rift Islands. Yarko and Clone, who have attempted for it, but haven't been successful previously now though. Up here and there isn't anybody else here really giving them much problems.
I was wondering if they saw that player kind of box up on the edge as he was going down. And now they have the choice. They can run on foot, try to get to zone. where there is a rift right under the island they just fell from. They can try to use that one to try to cover more distance, but we all know it comes with its own risks.
Yeah, of course. But with risk comes reward. At times.
It's true. Especially with this zone. Your positioning is going to mean so much depending on where this next one is going to pull, and it continues to go towards the south side of the map. Some players, it's a blessing. For others, particularly everybody on the north, it's more of a curse than anything else because that is where the congested side of the zone is. Not too much going down. This is one of those players that's positioned just outside of the zone. But he has to be careful. On the mountain is a team floating next to them. In the water is another team. And Blaha spots that one out. So he's putting pressure to try to alleviate for his teammate to find a little bit more safety. And I feel like this is almost an interesting decision to take the med kits over the med miss, but at the same time, you want to be able to full heal twice instead of using the med miss on the way and it kind of running out as you get to the zone. So I get it at the same time.
Fighting between Blaha and Mixon and Anderlecht and Squeeze will halt as Blaha and Mixon look to try at least prioritize some better positioning, moving themselves deeper into the zone.
I like this rotation. They're trying to go under the bridge. In their head, they're thinking a lot of the teams will be positioned either on the bridge or very similar elevation, so they're trying to go under that line of sight and make it to zone. Similar teams doing that same rotation, target them out just a little bit, but as they find themselves slap dam in the center, they're just going to kind of position up with not too much to worry about with not being in very many teams' line of sight. Wow, this is kind of what I was worried about when it came to the zone. It pulled south for a moment, forcing a lot of teams down, and then it kind of pulls right back on up. It's literally over that island where on NA's side of things where we've seen teams land a little bit of a split drop. So it's going to be interesting to see how teams plan to use a lot of these resources to cover that distance and shield themselves from the water.
This is a tough game, though, for Mappy to have to deal with as a solo, right? Like you said, when you're trying to traverse across the water, a lot more mats have to be expended, and he doesn't have the luxury of having 2 mats for 2 players, right? It's just what he has to work with. There are some spare mats, though, and so he'll have something to work with once the zone opens up. You can box around them and figure out what you can do with those builds. Let's see how much it is. A decent amount, to say the least.
Almost basically max off that one. Find some heals as well. Interesting decision to drop the Mammoth, but I get it with not enough heavy ammunition to keep that one. Eventually it'll become a moot point, so he'd rather keep those big pots in his back pocket. At least he can regenerate some of the heals. As Seti and Cammy trying to find some safety just off the edge of that hill. And honestly, for Seti and Cammy, it's almost like business as usual. They try to avoid a lot of the early game skirmishes. They wait for the later portion of the game where those eliminations will naturally present themselves.
Saying Cammy, man. One of the few teams this season that's had any sort of top level consistency. I think from analyzing a lot of their games, they have such a solid plan when it comes to early, mid, and even late game. Seeing them try different strategies this season has been something I've been excited for. We'll see, though, how it pays off in the grand finals. Of course, that's always the big theme. The most difficult lobby you will play all season long is the grand finals, and there's almost no way to properly prepare for that. You almost have to take certain small elements and extrapolate from there. If there's anyone that knows how to do it, if anyone has experience doing it, it is Seti and Cammy.
Finally get the shots to squeak through. They don't necessarily need it in terms of Storm Surge. They're just trying to get one more player out of their lobby, out of their way, so they can climb to the top of the leaderboard. A very, very baseline placement throughout these 6 games is needed for Srap and Anas in order to qualify for the FNCS Grand Finals, but they're well on their way to making that a possibility, and you can kind of see, even with Storm Surge not being activated, why they were continuously putting that pressure. They knew they weren't well above that Storm Surge threshold, so it was always a thought in the back of their mind while they were rotating.
Jerdy and Boaz. Jerdy as a solo was making it very deep at times, and so we know these two together can make things happen in this lobby. Well above on Surge as well, has given them the freedom to sort of play this game out in a way that they'd want to. Pink and Vico. Look at this loot. The amount of plays they're going to be able to make with the extra slurps they have really fills me with confidence. If I'm being honest, this could be a back-to-back-to-back for them, because this is a really, really nice setup for them to have. And a nice pair of limbs that they added to their tally just a moment ago. This could be another win. Calling it from here.
I was going to ask you that question for a moment when I was seeing them rotating. Is this an opportunity for Vico and Pink to go back-to-back-to-back? Feel free, if anybody's watching this one at home, let us know your opinion as well. But for Pink and Vico, would you think that cements them as one of the teams to watch out for going into Major 3, or do you think it's a whole different ball game with a whole different?
It's a whole different ball game for sure, but I think it just has shown, at least in their performances today, how dynamic they can be. They've won games in different styles, in different ways, right? It's not been the exact same, and if they do it here again, that will only add to that. Archie and Jakey Fan making their way in, making it a bit deeper than they did last game, which is nice. Archie just needs to make sure he's doing a good job of following by and not getting caught out.
Speaking about getting caught out, though, Nas, for a short moment, he was caught out. Srap is out of position as well. He gets dropped. Even Nas here as a solo, but trying to use 2 teams fighting as a distraction. He even has the piece control. The edit go through. First shot's going to get fired. Back to back through the build. Anas just showing exactly what to do in almost every stage of the game, and he immediately gets out of that position. He knew the possibility that team turning on him as a solo was there, and he got out and reinforced his spot here in the zone before he has to make his journey.
2 builds remaining for Anas, and they're going to have to be put to use here, as there are players who very much are aware of his position in the zone and the fact that he doesn't have much to work with. So yeah, they'll take him out there. Seti playing this one alone. I did see Cammy go down in the feed a couple moments ago, so it's just going to have to be one of the Polish players to try and close this game out.
But I feel like through the course of the years, we've seen moments, both Seti and Cammy playing as solos, pull up some huge moments, get to the top placing of those games. Is Pink Vico using some of their splashes early.
What do we have here?
Not too much of a worry, though. They have many.
Look up on height. It's Archie and Jakey Fan. They've taken it. And they're looking to hold it as well. Archie hitting some shots on these players in the back of the zone. Needs to be aware of anybody that could potentially take height from them.
Forget just qualifying. Archie and Jakey Fan want to win a game in the Week 3 set finals lobby, and this is their chance.
The problem is Archie, he saw Pink and Vico's top right beneath them. These guys are on second height, and he didn't do anything to pressure them. And so these guys now are just going to be able to keep on topping out. And they're going to be a very, very big threat to being able to take high ground. You see it being chopped there. I believe it might have even been Seti that's doing the chopping. Vico doing it as well, and so Pink can just sort of ramp up. And it's an easy height take for Pink and Vico. Jakey Fan and Archie did their best, but they were asleep. They weren't aware of this team. And so now it's Pink and Vico with another height take. Archie trying to flank, but it's not going to be enough. Taken down and forced out. The slurp will come in to heal him. but still having to fight players in the zone here. Can Archie hit the shots? A big one to keep him alive, but eventually will fall. It's all up to Jakey Fan.
Yeah, but they got themselves another top 10 performance here so far, and looking to inch themselves further in towards that threshold. Slurp Juice outside of the zone. This is what Jakey needs. Now he can sneak up and flank every single team in zone and pick up more points.
And really nicely dancing around. Not many bills to work with, so just trying to sort of manage it as best as he can without being caught out.
An opportunity and another shot being fired. Jakey gets the down as well. That's Vico. Vico is down. The Slurp Juice is there. And the men miss. He might have given a recipe for success on over to Jakey.
This is a huge game for Jakey. Has so much in the tank now to be able to make something out of this game. You would have thought he went down a couple moments ago, but he's been able to stay alive. And he has even more to keep him going. Another slurp to make use of. And this med miss still in hand. And so Jakey Fan really cooking something up right now.
Yeah, this is where things got hard, though. He's being forced to build and finally goes down. But a top 4 finish for their effort. A massive amount of points. Now the pressure has went from one player to another. Teeny's being forced outside the zone as the only solo. That makes it so hard for him to survive, especially since they now have him as the main focus and they're on the chase.
Nice. He's run up into a cone that he can use, and with this med mist, we'll give him an extra bit of time. And Ping and Kirito are going to be doing their best to try and take everybody out in between them and the ground, and that starts now. Ping forcing his way through builds.
Just making it look easy. One of the few duos left in this lobby. He even has that Breacher. Menmis being passed on over, probably solidifying their roles when push comes to shove. Somebody, Levin, is going to have to drop down eventually.
Seeing cheating. They want to be ready, though, for when that team has to drop down. The problem they may face here is that they might have to go up this hill with the way the zone is pulling. If that's the case, that's going to be so awkward for them. The bridge separating all these players right now for now, but once they move out from under it, the fights will begin. It's going to be Teeny taken out quickly, and now the fight to win the game starts.
Yeah, Kyrie, he's the one. He's the soldier being sent down low, trading shots back and forth between him and Cheatin'. Both of them being drained, and a double knock goes through. But out of nowhere, Pixie steals that game away to take it in his hands.
Really nicely done from Pixie. Cheatin' was tasked with looking for the fight, and Kyrie and Ping were way too distracted, way too occupied. And it just allows Cheatin' to sit there and bask in all the glory. A big win from this duo who, in a very difficult zone to traverse, have managed to stay stacked, stay active, and stay winning. Pixie and Cheatin' take game number 4.
That was huge. So you could see it. He went towards the outside of zone, climbed up to finish that one off. Each player winning their respective 1v1s. Not only is that a boost in terms of their points onto that leaderboard, but that is a huge boost of confidence to take away a game just like that.
That is absolutely massive, and we'll see just how massive it is going into the last 2 games. We're going to throw it to Zeke to send it all away.
Thank you so much, boys. Wow. Game number 4 comes down to this duo, Cheatin' and Pixie. 8 eliminations. Now, remember, as we continue to talk about, it takes one good game, and suddenly you could be finding yourself competing for that top 10. For this duo, this might have just jump-started them, and with 2 games left to go, we could very well see them compete and try and contest some of these, like, necessary series points.
Yeah, but the real showstopper there was just the way that you can tell that these duos are able to kind of deviate tasks from each other. And I think that it's just, again, having positional awareness where if you have one of your duo members trying to play the aggressor, trying to take the front side of somebody else's builds, then you have your partner just lurking in the shadows there, and just a really nice toggle of effort there for Cheatin' and Pixie in order to take that show.
Can I just say something? I think I'm capable of saying it right now.
Okay.
Archie has qualified to the Chapter 4 Season 3 Grand Finals. I think that is the game that we have seen Archie and his teammate qualify. They've done it. What a performance that was in the end game. But of course, Pixie and Cheatin', these guys have had a fantastic run in that end game, doing such a great job on high ground. And to take it the game was absolutely perfect from them.
There was so much chaos, I feel like, in this game, right? All coming down to solos. Some duos, even like we did see Archie, for example, they did split up and they were kind of forced to play apart from each other. But it wasn't just their duo. It was so many other duos. you can tell the pressure is on, and a lot of these duos are starting to feel that.
Yeah, we saw that it's split between Archie and Jakey Fan, and whether or not that was an intentional split, it's a different conversation. But as far as what they were able to do with their efforts in that instance, Archie actually did a decent job, at least at trying to propel himself forward, trying to get himself reconnected there with Jakey Fan. But it was that height take that, for me, was the ultimate display of having Venno playing coach for Archie and Jakey Fan, because this height take, it was a really strong effort. Granted, they did get spoiled by Pink and Vico, but a little bit of instantaneous vengeance there for Jakey Fan, because that elim onto Vico, I think, ultimately played spoiler right back towards Pink and Vico in terms of being able to actually hold on to that height.
I mean, the storyline here is incredible. The day of FNCS opens week number 1. Archie doesn't have a duo, tries to find a duo, finds Jakey Fan, gets dropped, gets undropped, and is now playing FNCS with Jakey Fan. They've now qualified to 2 finals. Not only qualified to 2 finals, but done enough to qualify to grand finals already. And wow, what a performance from them. But really, really nicely done from them. That was the game they needed, and I'm sure they'll be really happy.
And as we turn our attention to the standings, take a look. 6th place, Cheatin' and Pixie, the Victory Royale, paired up with the 8 eliminations, up 24 places. Now trying to compete for a top 10 finish. Remember, where a duo ends the day will then calculate, put series points on the series point leaderboard. So the higher up a duo can make it, the better for them in the long run. So up 24 places. This is absolutely huge, but at the top, we still see Vico and Pink, 282 points, 100 points ahead of everybody else. I just love the consistency we're seeing from the duo right now. Again, I think it's very important for duos, even if it's not grand finals, that they treat it as such.
Look, I don't want to jinx anything by any means, so take this with a grain of salt, but it's 33 elims right now is Pink and Vico's current standing point. 38 elims is the EU record to beat for this chapter as far as total elims and finals is concerned. And the fact that they are only 6 elims if they want to beat it, 5 elims if they want to tie it up, very feasible stance for these two. And with how focused they have seen throughout the entirety of today so far, I think it's more than feasible. I'm almost expecting them to get it done at this point.
Yeah, this team are fantastic. I'm liking the way they're playing. Even that game right there, they were just hiding under that second height under Archie and Jakey Fan. They knew that they were only left with a few bills left, so they were able to take that high ground. Of course, ultimately it didn't work out for them in their favor, but just the fact that they had that now, so they had that knowledge to know that the team above, they're going to run out of steam eventually, and we can take height eventually. That's the sort of experience, that sort of knowledge that you need going into grand finals. And this is a team that I think can definitely top 5, dare I say it, win it all if they're on form. So keep your eye out for this team.
Wow, absolutely. These are big words from the Minius Minor. Okay, I'm here, Mini. I'm right here with you. I do want to turn attention back to the standings super quick, just to continue to talk about all the things we're seeing. Remember, we only have 2 games left to go before we wrap things up on EU. Looking again, if you're just tuning in, Cheatin', Pixie there in 6th place. They just got themselves the Victory Royale. But a couple other names that are starting to, catch my eye. Refs on height, Triprin up 14 places, now in that top 10 as well. As we flip on over to that 20th, there's a couple players like, Archie, suddenly in that 12th place, up 26 places. It's all happening. Taco, it's all happening here.
It's all happening here in week 3, our last stop before grand finals. And for these teams, I think that this is also a perfect practice opportunity, because what better time to kind of establish yourself and what your duo is really capable of than here in a set lobby with some of EU's finest.
Yeah, I saw there, Mazer and Voltiax just outside of where they need to be, inside of that sort of top 12, top 13. So these guys need to be a little bit more consistent. These last 2 games have to be good if they want to try and find themselves in grand. So keep your eye out for that duo. That's definitely an interesting storyline to follow.
Absolutely. Only 2 games left to go. So now or never. Duos, it's time to step up in Vico and Pink elimination record. Let's break that. Casters, over to you.
You heard them break it all down, Levin. The foundation has been set with 2 games left. There's no maybe they can have a good game. They have to have a good game if they want to keep their journey alive.
100%. And look, as much as there are plenty of teams who are still in it, really, to try and qualify and give themselves hope of making it to grand finals, I'm very much looking at Vico and Pink. I want to see that record broken. We came so close in multiple of these weeks, but it hasn't quite happened yet. And these guys have 2 games now to get, what, just a couple, like 6 or so limbs, and they've got it. I really think they can be the ones. That would be a really, really good way to go into the grand finals for next week.
Yeah, especially Vico. I think he has emerged. We keep talking about him. It's not just the skill. It's how quickly he's learning to play with a player like Pink. You know him. You're probably great friends with Pink. You know the experience. You know the accolades. You know what he brings to the table. And I think he's doing a good job of bringing out the next stage of Vico. Will he continue to be one of the players in this lobby to look out for? We'll find out because Game 5 starts now.
The penultimate game before we head to number 6 and then eventually to the EU Grand Finals. A great season of qualifiers it's been. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of twists and turns. And now just 2 opportunities now for all these teams to make something of it. And another game. Not looking too good for Yapko or Spawn, but Paco is still there to try and pick up the pieces.
Yeah, he's stealing away the loot. Going from the top down. Unfortunately, he didn't really find any shields, but as soon as his teammate gets cleaned up, he'll know exactly where Paco is at. But he's actually just looking up. He went the other direction to try to figure out where he's at first. Runs right past a possible siphon. So this is going to be interesting how Lockstail actually does play this. Does he go for the straight res, or does he just try to battle it out? Just continuously trying to loot up. He's not even worried about his teammates. Paco running out of builds. Just 3 left to place. Has a Mammoth, though. Has double pump possibility with the lever as well. Just trying to steal away the pieces and the options. Great firing back.